Good evening. Welcome to our Bible Ponder for this week. Our text this evening is Genesis 22. So it's Father's Day this Sunday. So before you pause the video to jump on Amazon and buy something quickly for your dad, I thought it would be fitting to look again at one of the more famous stories in the Bible, Abraham's test. Or more specifically, that time God told Abraham to sacrifice his son. Now, Abraham was promised that he would be the father of a huge nation and his descendants would be incredibly numerous. And that journey was not straightforward. Firstly, he sleeps with his wife's Egyptian slave called Hagar, and she has a son, Ishmael. Eventually, Sarah, Abraham's wife, does become pregnant in her old age, as angels said she would, and Isaac is born. And as Isaac grows up, Sarah decides that Ishmael and Hagar have to go and they're a threat, and so she has Abraham send them away. So already not off to a great start as a model father. Then we get to our famous story, and it's one we read in Genesis chapter 22. So let's read it together now, and we'll have our questions after that. As always, we'll be on Zoom just after the premiere of this video to talk through this in a bit more and any other questions you have, and hopefully we'll be able to mine some more gold from this well-worn tale. Let's read together. After these things, God tested Abraham. He said to him, "Abraham," and he said, "Here I am." He said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I shall show you." So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. He cut the wood for the burnt offering and set out and went to the place in the distance that God had shown him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place far away. Then Abraham said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. So the 2 of them walked on together. Isaac said to his father Abraham, "Father," and he said, "Here I am, my son." He said, "The fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" Abraham said, "God himself will provide the lamb for a burnt offering, my son." So the 2 of them walked on together. When they came to the place that God had shown him, Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to kill his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, "Abraham, Abraham." And he said, "Here I am." He said, "Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." And Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, "The Lord will provide." As it is said to this day, "On the mount of the Lord it shall be provided." The angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, "By myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this and not withheld your son, your only son, I will indeed bless you, and I will make your offspring as numerous as the stars of heaven and as the sand that is on the seashore. And your offspring shall possess the gate of their enemies, and by your offspring shall all the nations of the earth gain blessing for themselves, because you have obeyed my voice." So Abraham returned to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived at Beersheba. So my questions tonight are hopefully not going to tread the same ground as we always do with this story. We'll see. First question is, what do we make of the father figures in the Bible? Is there anyone in the Bible that comes to mind who we can point to as a good model of fatherhood? Do we actually need good father figures in the Bible? It's all wrapped up in one question. Second question, the test Abraham faces involves choosing his ultimate loyalty, family and legacy, or allegiance to the God he worships. How do we balance these same sorts of tests in our lives? And the third question, what do we make of God in this story? Father is one of the more common monikers for God that we use. What does it mean to call God Father? And what does it mean for people for whom God as Father is not a welcome idea? For some people, Father is not a helpful or loving or caring image. Can we really put that on God? What do we make of God in this story? It's a lot wrapped up in that question, and one that we can hopefully dive into a bit here in our Zoom call, or maybe just in your own thinking and reflection. I hope really that all of these questions give us some food for thought. If you want to join us for the Zoom discussion, the details are below in the comments or in the main body of this post. We'll be on there for about 30 to 40 minutes after the video finishes, and you're welcome to join. Even if you've never joined us before, please do pop on, and it's a very relaxed chat and discussion. And we'll see you there in a couple of minutes. Thanks for joining us, and have a lovely evening.